This is the book of First Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 11. Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. Shalom, shalom, Akim. Before I begin, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations unto the hopeful elect. And the few sincere outlaws who believe in truth and sincerity, I say, Shalom. I'm the brother Gabar Allah coming at you with another lesson. And this lesson will be entitled, The Importance of Brotherhood, or something along those lines of building each other up is part of this ministry. Okay? Because, there's, we're coming into some very, very heavy times, man, and brothers are having all sorts of visions. Okay, brothers are having back-to-back visions, from one vision, and one brother has one vision, and then the next brother finishes the vision from the first brother. It's some beautiful times we're heading into, but very serious and deadly times. We have a blood moon on the Passover, Salakia, on the Day of Atonement, coming up on the 15th. I believe that it's meant to happen. Okay, Salakia, I know I said the 30th before, but I was misinformed. I was mistaken, Salakia. I believe the elder apostle Ramlad said it was the 16th or the 15th, I believe. But that's besides the point. The point being that because we're coming into these times, because we have, a very tight net group, okay, of brothers, you have to be able and you have to be willing to exhort one another, especially in these times of trouble, in these times where we need it the most, man. So this is the book of First Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 11. It reads, wherefore, or matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse I'm gonna start at verse 3. Or I could start at verse 1. We'll start at verse 1 from the top. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Right? Okay, and there's going to be a time of trouble. But it says in verse 4, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Exactly. Speaking of the body, speaking of the 1/3 of the Asherah who believe in truth and sincerity, and that's a very small number of brothers compared to the whole population of the world, man. You're going to meet several more people who don't believe than you have people who do believe, But the importance of uplifting one another during these times especially is that our brotherhood is very tight, man. You go home, you go to work, you do all these things with other people. You're surrounded by people of dark. They're not of the light. But we are of the light. We watching these videos, exhorting yourself, you're doing things that uplift your spirit. These are all things that we should all be doing, especially exhorting one another. And we do that via videos, via lessons, via camps, You do it in person, It's all a beautiful thing to have this brotherhood. It says, verse 6, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, for an helmet the hope of salvation. For power hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. So the Heavenly Father wants us to obtain this salvation via Yahushua HaMashiach. It says, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Okay, and that's, eventually the whole nation of Israel will be joined in together, but 2/3 of our people have to die. And on top of that, even some of the 1/3 of the Yasharallah will perish, will die. However, the difference between that is the wicked 2/3 are going to die in vain, while the 1/3 are going to die an honorable death and will come back when Yahushua makes his grand return. You're gonna be up there with Yahweh Hashem Yahushua fucking shit up, man. Okay, it's gonna be a beautiful time, man. Some brothers are gonna be beheaded. You're gonna be killed. Okay, it's gonna be a very serious time of very serious judgments, and it's gonna be the most deaths in the universe ever. Okay, it says, and we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Lord and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourself. Okay, speaking of the body. Okay, speaking of order. Okay, when you get order from someone above you, you have to follow that order. You have to respect the order. That's one of the main foundations of Great Millstone. Their order. And ultimately, if there's no order, you cannot have a real ministry. And that's one of the main things that really opened my eyes about the Great Millstone, man. They have order, true order, real order, and real brotherhood, man. You can tell. You can if the Lord gave you the spirit of discernment, you can very well tell that certain camps do not have order. Certain camps do not have real brotherhood. They'll just accept anyone in, like a gang. They just accept anyone. They don't try you. Yeah, you want to join us? Yeah, you can join. They don't even know you like that, and you join them. But when you're surrounded by men of the Lord, they will test you. They will try you, and it's a long process. Okay, it's not just like, oh yeah, come in. No, they have to really, truly discern you, whether you be of the Lord or not. But it reads, it says, verse 14, now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men. It says, verse 15, see that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Okay? And, sometimes brothers are going to have, days where they're low. Sometimes brothers are going to have those days where you're just, you're going through it, man. You're going to have days where you just go through it. You're going to have days where you feel a little heavier. You're going to have days where you feel like, damn, I can really use some exhortation right now. And that's what the brotherhood is for, man. Certain things, a brother has a lot of experience on that. That they can help you. Okay, and you can tell that, and you can truly have faith that they are not trying to use you or any of that. Because in this world, man, there's a bunch of users and abusers. In this world, there's a bunch of people who manipulate, who want to take advantage of you and do this and a third. You can't trust people of this world. That's why they call them snakes. That's why they refer to them as snakes. You can't trust people of this world. But the men who are in the ministry, who are fighting alongside you, those men you can trust. That's the power of this brotherhood, man. All right, and I don't want to make this lesson too long, but I'm going to grab the book of Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 24. Let me see if I can, Hebrews 10, and I'll just get to the point, verse 24. And let us consider one another to provoke unto Let me start again. Hebrews 10:24. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more, as ye see the day approaching. Okay, and when you look up that word exhorting, in just a regular dictionary, okay, strongly encourage or urge someone to do something. So we are strongly encouraging our brothers, the Akim, in this ministry. Sometimes it's tough love. Sometimes it comes out as tough love. But that's why the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing, open rebuke is better than secret love, man. Sometimes it's going to come out as tough love. Sometimes it's going to sting. But sometimes that's what you needed to hear, man. And all the time, really, is what you need to hear. Because they're rolling through the Spirit. Okay, they're not going to tell you something that you want to hear. They're going to tell you something that you need to hear. It may come out as rough. It may come out as mean, so-called mean. Okay, but once you get out of that emotion, you understand that, okay, what is he trying to tell me? What is this brother trying to tell me that I'm failing to understand, that I'm failing to realize? What am I falling at? Okay, it's this. Let me fix it. And that's the whole point, to fix your errors, man. Okay, because that's what true love is. Okay. So, man, like I said, I don't want to make it too long. I just really wanted to make this lesson, man, to really get the point across that, the brotherhood is something very important, especially in these last days, man, because in these last days, you are not going to be able to trust anyone but the men that you were serving with, the elect members of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So, Lord willing was edifying, Lord willing was exhorting, man. I want to give all praises, honor, and all glory unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. To honor yet again to the elders and apostles of their millstone who will teach you all. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.